Hello, you're watching Bearwood West Yard, and today I'm going to bring you the September 2019 layout update. I'm going to be starting this layout update on the western end of the layout. So as you can see, look, the landscaping's starting to come on a bit. I've been working on this quite a lot recently. I've done this by using polystyrene packing sheets. So I've got 25mm sheets at the bottom and then 10mm sheets at the top. So the height that I've got this at is 70mm, so just below 3 inches. This has taken me so far, about a month or so, and I cut it all using a Stanley knife and also a really long crafts knife. You might be thinking, why didn't I go around the hot wire way about it? And I didn't, because it was just a pain and it was just hard to get it in place on the layout. So I did all that and shaped it while it was still loose before final put down, and then I did the top ones again the same method, but then with the slant of it. I did the bottom one while it was loose, and then I did the top ones while when they'd already been stuck down. And then with the 70mm in height, this means that the bridge, which is here, this was made from this was a little bit of a kit bash in a way. So I've got the wheel girder edges, and that one of which I've painted and then let deteriorate using the MIG range of paints, and then on the other side I've just gone for a grey and then let the MIG paints go wild on it, and then just 1mm plasticard braced on the underneath, and then the supports for it, those are cardboard. But either way, as I was originally saying, the 70mm above it means that when trains are passing beneath it, it's not it's not restricted as such. It just means that it's more realistic, as there's only about a foot or so, about a couple of foot between the top of a container and the bridge, as it would have in real life. I still need to continue ballasting around here, although at the minute I'm waiting for some more cable trunking to come in. So when that's in and I've installed that, I'll continue with the ballasting. But either way, I've ballasted pretty much the whole layout now, other than what's still going on in the yard and this little bit around here. With regards to other scenic details, so the relay boxes and the signals, that signal is just loose. This is one of the Train Tech kits. It's the 3-aspect left feather. It looks absolutely stunning once it's built. And then the cable trunking itself, that is all from scale model scenery. I have to build that up as a kit. And then the relay boxes, they're all from the wheels kits, the railings and the safety fencing, again that's from scale model scenery, and the base that all of those sit on is actually polyfiller, which was shaped, which the outside of it had plasticard around it, just so that it held in the material which I used, which, if I can remember correctly, I think I used polyfiller for that. So swarted down some polyfiller, put it in, let it dry for a couple of days, and then painted it with some rail match concrete paint, and then gave it a light overcoat of I think it was a tarmac type wash, just to weather it down a bit. Yeah. The main plans for this area at the minute are the area in front of me here is going to have a little road just going back and around, and then the area down the back is actually going to be heathland. Not something that I've properly seen be modelled yet, so this is going to be a first for me. I've got some test beds downstairs, one of which I wasn't happy with, but another one was actually not bad. It's going to be done using a mixture of static grasses and some techniques for different types of bushes and that. But yeah, so that's all going to be heathland. It's going to be a little access point over there. That area in front of us just here that comes out to form the cutting. I was thinking about having a little access point there, but I'm thinking at the minute I just have that as a bit of an overgrown area. And then this bit here will probably, that start raises up, so I'll probably have, say, a little parking area for a car, and then the start of a horse's field. There's around this area, there's Campford Heath, and there's plenty of horses and fields just before you get to the heath. But yeah, with regards to the ballasting, for the main lines, I have used I've used predominantly Woodland Scenics, but I've done this actually in a composite, in a form of a composition. So it's the majority of it is the Woodland Scenics brown, mixed in with some grey blend and also a little bit of buff. And then for the, oh yeah, I should note that also I've painted all the sleepers on here. I've painted with rail match concrete, and that just to give them the less plasticky appearance. And I have not weathered the ballast, as it looks pretty good, or from the non-camera and from the eye anyway. Whereas in the yard, I've had to weather that. I've only done the 4 foots and the 6 foots at the minute. I'm yet to do on the edges of the sleepers. But that is all of the Woodland Scenics grey blend, which I'm weathering using a medium grey, and that just to represent the oldness of it. Again, I've painted all the sleepers and I'm yet to paint all the chairs. Some of them I have done. It's an incredibly tedious job, but one that will hopefully make it look, will bring out the aesthetics of it. I very briefly showed the left feather signal, but as you'll see there's a hole there. As you all know, that there's only one proper entry into the yard, so to get in via the downline there is a reversing signal. This is in the form of a 2-aspect with theatre signal. This again is train tech, and that in that theatre is the letter G for, I put that in for goods after doing some research on that, and that'll be for the downline if backing into the yard. I ordered both of these off of the Train Tech website, as they are kits. You can buy them from shops and that, but they're I think they're the DCC ones, or they're the ready-made ones, and they're I think it's either DCC or the sensor signals. They might be the same thing, but I hadn't seen any kits floating about, so I just decided to go onto the Train Tech website, see if they had the kits there, as I inquired the other year, and lo and behold, there they were. So I'd ordered them, and I got them rather quickly, and I built them. I've wired up the theatre signal. I'm yet to connect it to any panel, as I'm currently waiting to get everything done before I build the signalling panel and finalise everything. Now on the middle section of the layout, again not much has changed along here other than the polystyrening on the back, the front, and the ballasting and trunking. What will happen along here, again as said before, is heathland along the back, and for this I'm going to be making, or plan to make, my own scenic backdrop. So I'll be using a lot of printer ink and getting in some specialist paper to do that, using photographs of my own from around the local area. But around the back, I don't know yet whether I'm going to keep it at that level of 25mm or whether I'm going to add another 10 or a couple of 10 layers of polystyrene. I don't know yet. But either way, what I am going to have, I don't know if it can be seen or be picked up by the camera, is that the front of it, on parts of it, are actually vertical before they go on a slope, or a chamfer I should say. I'm going to have some form of retaining wall made from sleepers on that, and then in the area in the foreground, that where the board is just exposed, I've got several ideas for what I'm going to do there. The first of which may require a little bit more of the heathland to be taken out, and that was for the original idea of having that fourth line as part of a Freightliner terminal, but I thought, well, the space is limiting, and I'd need to take more out of the heathland, which would again restrict the scenic capacity of the layout for a lorry turning area. And I've always found that, especially when watching other YouTubers, that less is more, and I think that idea is just not going to be going well. However, also from watching other videos on YouTube which aren't model related, one that I came across of 7 Tunnel Junction yards when they were in their final weeks, was they had their depot buildings, and that I was thinking of having one of them there, scratch building my own little XBR depot, or one that is currently in stages of being knocked down with some porter cabins next to it, or something like that, just to give it a sense of, oh yeah, it's not just a modern yard, it's been here years, and that, just to give it a bit more of a BR feel rather than just predominantly modern image. As I think sometimes with modern layouts, I think that modern can be a bit overwhelming, and that the past is often forgotten, and that's so. And a lot of layouts, dare I say it, can sometimes lack a bit of context. But after all, everyone to their own. Not trying to knock anyone, but I just think that a little bit more context can sometimes bring a lot more to a layout. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to go over to myself, either downstairs or back in my room, and show some of the samples of static grass and heathland that I've attempted to make. To really bring out the scenics of what I'm going to be doing on my layout, I decided to invest quite heavily into static grass. This is the first time that I've got experience with it and that I've ever used it. I've seen it being used on other people's layouts. I've seen it a couple of times at exhibitions, but never actually had a go myself. And this is the first attempt that I'd done with it. So what I'd done is I'd gone off of a former experience in a field locally, where again, it's summertime, there's nice lush green grass in some areas, and then some areas have just died down a bit, gone to straw, and then I think there's other like weed type plants which are growing in the middle of like the dead areas. And then I had a play with making some brambles and some gorse, these of which were quite easy to make. It's just the know-how on doing it. So yeah, I stuck them in there because I thought, actually, all first attempts in there, I thought it looked quite good, and that I was rather pleased with it, as most people's first attempts don't always go to plan. So yeah, that all went to plan, came out better than expected, so I thought, well, I'll chuck them all together. This was my second attempt at doing static grass. I was going off of a photo I'd taken up on my local heathland, where the track made by the Land Rovers of the Dorset Wildlife Trust would go up, and then you've got in the middle of the track you've got the smaller green grasses, also at the side, and then that goes on to the heathers and the gorse, and other long grass plants in the background of it. This failed quite miserably. For starters, the heather is far too vibrant and purple in this area. Our heathers are actually more of a pinkish colour, halfway between pink and purple. So this kind of really just does not accurately represent the area. And that, for starters, other than the fact that the grass is just completely in a mess. Even the gorse itself, I don't even know what happened with that. But yeah, so I think I can call this one of my failed attempts. But either way, I'm currently looking at solutions as to what I can get that isn't as purple and is more pinkish. From doing a lot of research, and I spent literally a whole hour last night looking on various sites, it does not seem as if there are any pinkish products out there for modelling, which I find rather strange, because I thought people may model plants as in scratch building them like I have on here, rather than just going and buying a load of knock or any other ready-made flowers or anything like that. But yeah, so even if I have to just find some pinkish cheap acrylic paint and just paint the top millimetre or so of each fibre just to make it look as if it's part of the heathland, as much of a tedious job as that's going to be, it's probably not going to be the most tedious I've ever done with the layout. But yeah, either way, I'm still currently looking at solutions to do that. Before I continue with the rest of the layout update, I'm going to go over my recent additions to the layout since the last layout update. So the first of which is the more recent addition. This is a Freightliner 70, number 7015. I picked this up from the Hatton's website, quite pricey at 164 quid, not including the £4 postage to get it here. Again, expensive, but I haven't seen it around any other places. I was going to pick one up a couple of months ago, but then they vanished off of the Hatton's website. Yeah, I think it was when they got, and someone, I think it was a third party, came in, gave them a load of new Bachmann stuff after the whole trade standoff between Hatton's and Bachmann, that they had more than 10 in stock, and this was last month. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to have it before they all go out of stock again. So yeah, my other 70, number 70003, that's currently on the brink of going. I've had a look at it mechanically, and it's quite knackered. I've had it since 2012, so I'll give it its due. It's given me many happy times, but I think it's time to almost semi-retire it, and I might even have it as just a dead in tow loco and take the motor out of it and all the mechanics, put some more lead weights in just to make it a bit heavier. But yeah, that's my other 70, with the one that does not have the modified air intake. And what I might do is just get another 70, just like number 15, get it, renumber it to like number 8, as I've seen it at Southampton quite a few times. But yeah, that's all in the pipeline. Behind it is a Dapol JNA. I've picked up another 2 of these, not including this one, so including it, I've picked up another 3. You might ask why, as that takes me up to a now rake of 13. This is not to go with my rake of 10, but simply just because, well, it's a network rail yard, you should never be short of JNAs or any other engineers' wagons. So this will be going with another rake, which I'm yet to show. And then next to it, are 2 JJAs, auto ballisters, the one on the left being in X-Rail Track and Weathered, and the one on the right being, you guessed it, Rail Track and Pristine. The one on the right I picked up in my local model shop for the best part of 45 quid. Expensive stuff. Wasn't expecting to buy anything that day, but saw it and thought, you know what, that's going to be gone tomorrow, and I was right because I'd snatched it up. But yeah, so I was 45 quid out of pocket that day. And then on the left, the weathered one, I picked that up off of a mate for a slightly lesser price at second hand. It's not in as good a condition as the other one, but I got what I paid for, and it does look quite good, to be fair. I'll give it its due. I'm not sure the plans for these ones yet, as I've currently got a lot of wagon projects on, so I might even, when I've got the time and when I finally get round to it, maybe even just spray them up into the network rail yellow as the current JJAs are in, or maybe even just reprefix them to HQAs like as some of the JJAs were rebuilt. So I'll put them into the HQA series and just put the network rail markings on. Yeah, next to them is probably the finer builds, which I haven't really gone into yet, and these are my YKA Osprey wagons. So these are modified salmon flats that have been used for track panel carrying. So you've got the stanchions on the top. I believe Cambrian do make the salmon flats, however they don't make them with the stanchions. The stanchions are simply, there's a guy on RM Web, I can't remember the name of him, but he's got quite a popular thread on there. I think it was New Bryford, I think it was. The name just popped into my head. And he built a load of the Cambrian kits. I then went to look on the Cambrian kits and found they were incredibly scarce. So I thought, well, I've gone against my usual rivet counter self, bought a load of the Bachmann Brill, the YAAs, off of Rails of Sheffield. Some would say I butchered them up a bit. I bought some plastic card, made the stanchions, repainted them, and jobs are good. I rebogeyed them as well, so I bought a load of ASFs off of pretty much everywhere that I could find, everywhere I could find them. So I've got a nice supply of them for when I go and build a few more in the near future. I started off with 4, I've got 3 complete, or that one is almost complete, just need the ratchet strap box on the underneath and then it's done. And I've just got to build the other one. I will note that with these, you do have to butcher the original bogies to be able to get the NEM coupling bits onto the actual ASFs themselves, as they don't come with them. And then on the back, we've got a OBA box wagon behind them. This is just to recreate a set that I've actually seen, and this is the set that the 3 JNAs are going to go with, and I'm planning on making another 2. I've got enough ASFs for another 2 of these, so it's looking quite likely that I'll include another 2 of these to take the total up to 6, and then the whole rake up to 10, as that's the maximum that I can have in the sidings. So continuing on with the new additions, I've got a Northern Rail Metro liveried Class 158. This is one of the original Bachmann releases of the 158. This is second or third hand now. I picked it up for £80 on our Facebook group, on a model railway trading group. I haven't run it yet, although I've had it for a number of weeks, mainly because I've been busy with work, as I've just done 19 days on the trot, and I still need to figure out how to DCC it before I actually give it a run. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having it running. I'm not going to have it running in that grey and red livery, obviously because it's completely out of area, but also because I've got on order at the minute from Electrorail, I've got a pair of new brandings going on. So I've ordered the Southwestern Railway greys and the Southwest Trains white for them. I'm going to see which one looks better when it arrives, although I will probably end up using the Southwest Trains I don't know which one I'll use it actually saying that, so I'll keep quiet on that rather than making a decision. But Bachmann are due to release their newly tooled 158 in the next year or so, or that might even change to whenever they actually get round to it. But yeah, prices for that are looking a bit extortionate at the minute. But one of the ideas I had was whack this into South Western Railway and then just change the branding over one of their East Midlands ones that they're planning on releasing over to South West, without having to revinyl it. I am with my 2 Class 450s. I have also ordered a South Western Railway vinyl set for one of the 450s, so I may even revinyl one of them. So I've got one in South West and one in South Western Railway. So to give a feel of the two eras as they go from either 2017 or 2018 onwards, or prior to those dates. Anyway, in the foreground, I've got 2 Hornby KFAs and 2 Hatton's FEASs. I've got another 2 of these Hatton's wagons currently in their boxes, as I've got nowhere to store them, literally, as I've got so many boxes and little places to store them. This is for a rather secret wagon project that I'm going to be undertaking. It is for engineers' purposes, this wagon set will be. But yeah, all I will say is the N2 wagons are, or in the ready to run series anyway, are KFAs, and then the other 11 wagons in the set are spine wagons, such as these FEASs, as these are the closest ready to run that I could get. But yeah, so that's going to be taking a rather long time to do. I'm going to be keeping quite quiet about them, but you might even see some footage of some of it running in the near future. But yeah, I'll leave you in the dark on that one, and then when it's done, I'll release it, and hopefully it will look as good as what I'm hoping it will be. Continuing on to the eastern side of the layout, a lot has still been going on here. So I've installed third rail on here that goes all the way back to behind where the baseboard, the back scene even, will be. So I've done that on the down line all the way up to the crossover, and I'm currently working on the up line, and I'm pretty much halfway up the platform with that. I've been waiting to install the rest of it for a little bit. I'm waiting on some more drill bits to come, as the 10 that I had snapped. So yeah, joys of working with rather small drill bits. Anyway, I have started weathering some of the track down here and the forefoot, because I thought, well, the station area is going to be a bit more weathered than the rest of the line, although the rest will get weathered in time. Again, with this relay box setup, I've done the same method as before. So the polyfiller base, the wheels kits, boxes, and the scale model scenery, trunking and fencing. The axle counters and that themselves are all scratch built from plasticard, and I've been such a rivet counter to include them. So those are all no more than 5mm in size, absolutely tiny modelling, and made these going off of prototypes from Southbourne level crossing in West Sussex and from Hamworthy Park level crossing back here in Dorset. Yeah. Started weathering and that, the dummy point motors. That, I think you might have noticed that from last time, included the TPWS grid and also the 3-aspect starting signal. And then over here we've got the yard exit signal. That's a working train tech white and yellow type. Again, like the rest of the signalling, not connected up yet, as I still need to do the panel when the layout is complete. Now over here is something I'm in debate about at the minute. I'm either thinking of getting a Dremel and installing a right hand curved point, or just not including that and just having track going along. As I was mentioning before about having the XBR feel, of the lingering feel, I was going to have, say, an old head shunt, which is long enough to accommodate a small shunting locomotive, so that say when 37s, 47s or 56s are going about their jobs preparing their trains, the shunter is out of the way and isn't going to interfere with those jobs. So I was thinking of having it as a case of some old derelict sleepers lying along that length of cork, lightly ballasted, and then at the end actually having rail on the sleepers, with the buffer stop still fixed down there, as if to say that they've done a half job, taken up the easy bits of rail and then just oxy-cut straight through the rest of the rail because they can't be bothered to take up the buffer stop. I think that will look quite good, to be honest. But yeah, and then have sleepers going all the way back as if to suggest that there was once point work there, but all of the joins in the points and the frog's been taken out and just left in the siding as it is. There's going to be a road that goes back there, probably just a single track road, and then goes up, again forming like a little bit of the cutting type appearance on the railway side of things, and then that will go up. There will be the main road bridge going along this part here, and as the yard side of the island platform is not going to be being used from the yellow line onwards, I've actually got a fencing kit to do that with, so that it looks like Hamworthy Station on the other side of Poole. So I'm going to do that, so giving the and I believe Westbury's got something similar to that as well, which is half of my inspiration for the layout, but I believe that that's boarded up with actual wood panels. But yeah, other than that, I've got the down platform actually done. That's all completely done. The way that I did that is, I don't think I disclosed how I did the platforms, was 1mm thick plastic card, although for future reference I'll be using 1.5, because I actually had to prop it up on this side and that side with 0.5mm plastic card. So if you use 1.5, and then I printed off some sheets off of Google, stuck them on, and then any gaps between the plastic card and the edging, I just put the scale model scenery edging stones over them, and then on the edge of that just put down the yellow tape, which is self-adhesive. Pretty good, to be honest. Actually quite happy with the effect it's given. Probably a little bit more of a modernish appearance to what I would have gone for, but at the end of the day it looks the part, and I think that's what matters more than being a rivet counter. But yeah, I think that's I'm quite happy with that, to be fair. I should also mention that the area in the back corner, although I was planning to put some form of local industry in there, the space that I'm going to have once that the polystyrene is up and the road's in is going to be quite minimal. So what I'm probably going to do is put some kind of like field in there, probably another horses field, or maybe even just some kind of play park in there for children, or something like that anyway, something along those lines. But yeah, that's all really that's been going on the layout in the last 4 months or so. If you do have any questions and that, please do feel free to comment, or if you've just got anything to say in general, feel free to comment. If you do enjoy the video and like the layout, then feel free to like and subscribe. But yeah, I'm going to try and post a little bit more regularly, as I know the last video that I put up was a running session. I didn't incorporate that much, mainly because I didn't have that much stock out. But anyway, I'll leave it there feel free to like, comment and subscribe. So thank you very much, and see you in the next one.